Well, even the best analysts who cover Tesla are now failing to get Tesla. Another price target increase at a point lower than the current stock price, and the profit taking continues. Now, I just took a look before I started recording, and the 10-point drop in the pre-market on Tesla is been more than halved, and we're only down 3.5. I'll check that at the end of the story and give you an update. But the AI story on Tesla is now front and center, but Jonas and Levy are not getting it. It's time to buy, buy, buy. Oh, this is Randy Kirk. If you like my morning show, please hit the like button just to keep me encouraged because it's so early. And if you want to find out what Larry Goldberg has to say about all this on Saturday morning, and he's going to be talking about India because he's got special knowledge about India, then please hit subscribe and notify. As well as later today, the 2024 my 2024 predictions with regard to everything about Tesla will be out later today, probably about 11 o'clock California time. Okay, and then of course Patreon, always looking for you to be part of Patreon and buy the books. Okay, the greatest investors are always looking for a place where they have more information or more insight than the market does. Some folks, including me, call this arbitrage. In just the recent past, you might have enjoyed some real profits on Amazon or Apple. I know I did on Apple. But when you look up the word superlatives in the dictionary, there will be a picture right there in the dictionary of Elon Musk standing next to a Tesla. The best car, the safest car, the highest margin, the most American, it goes on and on, the greatest entrepreneur. Well, add this one to the list of superlatives, and that would be Tesla and Elon, the most misunderstood. So yes, the stock is had this massive run up. Yes, Elon is more in favor today than he was 6 months ago. Yes, folks are beginning to get the idea that the electric revolution is here and that Tesla is way ahead in the EV space. But on the morning after Tesla announces that it's starting production of the greatest AI tool ever conceived by humans, Dojo, Adam Jonas, an automotive expert, says he doesn't want to call the end of the Tesla rally and that Tesla is a must-own stock, but that he can't justify the current price of Tesla after what is truly a substantial run-up. Well, I'm not an investment advisor, and none of what I say is investment advice. But unless a person thinks they are just an amazing day trader and capable of picking their spots, buying the bottoms and selling the highs, and guess what? Almost no one is. I did it in 2021. I had a great year. I had 330%, no, more than that. Anyway, I took a 2,000 investment and turned it into $60,000 that year by day trading. But everybody's a genius in that kind of market. In a bull market, it can happen. And I picked a lot of bottoms and I picked a lot of tops, but guess what? In 2022, I didn't. So are you that guy? Are you the person that can always do it? Well, anyway, I think that unless you're that person, then heading for the sidelines right now seems to me to be pure folly. That's just me. Now, having said that, earlier this year, I predicted Tesla would be at 300 when? I said after the earnings call in the third quarter, it would start heading towards 300. And I also said, though, that in order to get to that 300, there was going to have to be a market change, a change in sentiment in the market, that the market was going to have to be more risk on. Well, I also said that 400 was in the first quarter of next year. And again, with a better market attitude. Well, I changed my price target as the market was moving up. Why? Because there was a shift in that macro. And the shift in that macro is also taking a breather right now. It's taking a breather because why? Because Mr. Powell, the chairman of the Fed, is wrong. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Because the chairman of the Fed has been knocking down the rally this week with his statements about inflation, which are, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many, many, many others, completely bogus. That we're already at 2.5% inflation. We're headed towards less than 2% inflation before the end of this year. And so that's why the market has turned a little bit sour. Of course, there's a big run up in the market as well, and it needs a breather from time to time. And so maybe it's just profit taking, maybe it's just exhaustion. But for Tesla to go down another 10 points this morning early, that was crazy. All right. I think that Tesla can still head towards 300 this year. It may or may not happen until after we see July 2nd numbers. So the July 2nd numbers will be coming out telling us how many cars Tesla sold. Execution, this is another thing I talked about. The market will be looking for Tesla to execute. They don't understand this AI thing. They understand that AI is a thing. They understand that they want to be part of the AI future. They understand that they don't want to miss out on AI. They probably are beginning to understand that Tesla is an AI company and maybe the most important AI company in the world, probably the most important AI company in the world. Because what? Because Dojo, okay? The AI announcements by Tesla in their Twitter AI account last night, they're brand new. They just opened their Twitter AI account yesterday. It's called Tesla AI. You may want to look it up. You may want to follow it. You should follow it if you're on Twitter at all. They put that account up yesterday, and then one of their very first tweets was all about Dojo and about what that means for the company. Understand that this rapid scaling of their neural net training computer to levels unmatched by any other company or nation offers an opportunity for $1 billion business just for Dojo as a service. That's according to Elon Musk, multi-hundred billion dollar business, which he said that they hadn't decided whether or not they were going to get into the Dojo as a service business or not, but everything is now pointing to the fact that they are going to get into that business. Well, that's not all, because actually what's more important, well, the first thing, this is not as important, but Dojo is going to help every aspect of their business. It's going to help them in their manufacturing. It's going to help them in understanding the client, the customer, the prospect. It's going to help them in understanding markets. It's going to they're going to be they already are using AI across the board, but these faster, better, larger compute systems are going to allow them to do all of those things even better. But the key is, and here is where you have information that nobody else has. And when I say nobody else has, that apparently lots of people, even investment experts, gurus, people that are on CNBC, apparently are missing. And that is this extra compute, this extra capability is going to go right into FSD and into robotaxis and into Optimus. These three businesses are the biggest three businesses in the history, well, potential, obviously. They're the biggest potential businesses in the history of humankind, and they're all Tesla businesses. In other words, FSD, Elon says FSD is going to be you think about it, at $15,000 a piece, if the take rate goes up, it's all profit. How many cars does it take for that to be massive amounts of money all by itself without robotaxi? Then you add in robotaxi, and you're looking at the potential for, I changed my numbers yesterday. You'll see that later today if you check out the 2024 estimates. I figured out there will be 18 million Tesla automobiles on the road in 2026. If that's the time when robotaxi finally happens, can't we imagine that 1/3 of people that own Teslas at that time will want to make $75,000 a year putting their Tesla out as a robotaxi? I can imagine that. Okay, so the numbers on robotaxi are massive. Elon has said that robotaxi will be the equivalent, the profits will be the equivalent of the rest of Tesla combined. And then he said that Optimus, which needs this compute, will benefit from the neural net training being better, improving rapidly, will be bigger than all of those. Take in all the cars, all of robotaxi. Now you double that. That's what I mean, you have an equivalent amount of that or more, and that is Optimus. So all three of these are on the verge of being the biggest businesses in history. And I mean, not all they need a breakthrough. They obviously need more compute and they need more neural net training, but that's what they're going to have as you see that ramp. If you saw it yesterday, look at my video from last night, you can see the ramp, or go on Twitter and see it there, or see it on multiple other videos that were made by other YouTubers last night. Anyway, all of that, and the stock is down. The market might be a little bit concerned that the Bank of England raised their interest rates by 50 basis points. And I don't have any special knowledge about this. I haven't done any special deep research on this, but there appears to be no question that the inflation in England is still not solved. My gut feeling would tell me that England is in the same boom bust situation as everybody else, and there's no real reason why England or Europe should have more inflation necessarily than anybody else. But their inflation numbers, at least, are much higher than the US. I think they're still running around 7-8%. Of course, markets do cool off and traders do take profits. There's always people out there. We've talked about this a few times this week. So, do take into consideration that you could have the market down even when it doesn't make a lot of sense fundamentally, foundationally. And you could have Tesla down when it makes no sense fundamentally. All right, let's take a minute to talk about India. I talked a lot about India yesterday in terms of some of the decision making taking place there. My comments had to do with the fact that India is on the precipice. They're on the cusp. They're on the beginning edge of potentially becoming a major world power. They could potentially pass China over the next 10 years as they seem poised to do what China has done in the last 2 decades. They have all kinds of opportunity to improve their infrastructure, just like China did, and therefore to improve a lot of the population. Their population is growing. China's population is retracting and has no chance of turning that around. So Tony Seba said that it would cost India $10 per month per resident for 10 years to go 100% solar battery. They have a lot of sun in India, so this would be transformative. In other words, to put that in real numbers, $1 trillion is his estimate of what it would take them to go 100% solar battery. But what an opportunity for Tesla, working with Prime Minister Modi, working with India to help them transition to solar and battery. And that $1 trillion over 10 years works out to $10 per citizen per month for 10 years. Now, maybe you say, well, that's a lot. A family of 5, that'd be $50 a month. That is a lot in India. Well, you don't have to do it over 10 years. You can pay for it over 40 years if you want to do long-term bonds. Anyway, I don't have any special knowledge on this, but some reporting is saying that the infrastructure on India is improving rapidly. Larry Goldberg will be on my show Saturday morning, and he has special knowledge about India, and I'm going to pick his brain about what is already happening in India. And I mean, you and I can see it. Maybe you can't. I have had virtual assistants in India. They are outstanding. Pakistan is great too, surprisingly to me. Do you know that the number one wealthiest subgroup, if you will, demographic group in the United States is Pakistani Americans? Number one, they're the wealthiest group by far. So anyway, Indian Americans are not far behind. So you might want to look at India. You might want to dig into India and get some more knowledge yourself, but I will have this show on Saturday. We'll talk about India. So other news this morning, oil is down sharply this morning, a couple of dollars, reversing several days of minor trades, up trades. It was up as high as 71, 72 again, and now it is back. I'm sorry, yes, and now it's back under 70. Oil, so, and then the 10-year bond yields are up slightly, but they're still right in the middle of the trading range of the past few months. And the fact that those yields continue to trade in that very limited range continue to suggest to me that the Fed, that the bond people, the bond folks don't think that inflation is the problem. So as of the moment, as of this exact moment, Tesla is down 4.46. That is about half of where it was pre-market, even a little. So it was down 10 in the pre-market and now down 4.46. Let me just double check those oil and bond numbers. Yes, everything I just said is true about bonds. And just real quick check on oil, and oil I'm sorry, it's just slightly over $70 at $70.22. Okay, so if this is useful to you in the morning, my goal for you is to produce and give you the news about Tesla first thing in the morning, just after the market opens, so that it is useful for you during the day, as opposed to providing you news after the market closes when it's no longer useful in terms of the of your any decision that you might need to make right now. If you like that, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, I just don't understand why not. Hit notify if you want to make sure that you get that Larry Goldberg information on Saturday morning, as well as this afternoon. You want to see, I think you want to see my 2024 projections. Those will be out, like I said, probably about 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock Eastern. And then also, obviously, joining Patreon will be wonderful. And I appreciate all the folks who have already joined Patreon. I think that's all I've got. And this is Randy Kirk, and it's been great talking to you.